Hello, my dear friends, and welcome back to English Online. My name is Maya, and I am so happy to be with you today. In this lesson, we will talk about something very close to everyone's heart: food. Food is not only about eating, it is about memories, culture, comfort, and joy. Each of us has a dish that makes us smile, reminds us of home, or brings a special feeling to our hearts. Today, I will share with you the story of my favorite dish. We will go step by step, exploring what it is, why I love it, how it is made, and the feelings it brings to me. Along the way, you will learn useful English words and expressions that you can use to describe your own favorite dish. Don't worry if some words sound new. I will explain them slowly, and you can repeat after me. Try to imagine the smells, the tastes, and the feelings as I describe them. By the end of these episodes, you will not only improve your English, but you will also feel inspired to talk about your own favorite food. So, take a deep breath, relax, and join me in this delicious journey. And now, let's begin with Episode 1. Episode 1: Discovering my favorite dish. My favorite dish is something that always makes me smile whenever I think about it. It is not just food on a plate, it is a memory, a feeling, and a story. Whenever I see it, I feel warm and happy inside. Whenever I smell it cooking, I feel like I am at home, surrounded by love. The dish I love the most is homemade chicken curry with rice. To some people, it may sound simple, but to me, it is full of flavor, tradition, and comfort. I first tasted this dish when I was a child. My mother would cook it on weekends, and the smell would fill the entire house. I remember running into the kitchen, asking, "Is it ready yet?" and waiting impatiently with my brother and sister. The taste of this dish is a perfect balance: spicy, but not too hot, rich, but not heavy, simple, yet full of depth. The chicken pieces are tender and soft, cooked slowly in a sauce made of onions, tomatoes, garlic, ginger, and a mixture of spices. When served with steamed white rice, it becomes a complete meal that satisfies both the body and the heart. But why do I call it my favorite dish? Because it is more than just food. Every time I eat it, I remember family gatherings, laughter at the dining table, and the comfort of being together. Food has the power to connect us, and this dish connects me to my childhood, to my family, and to happy moments. Even today, whenever I feel tired, stressed, or homesick, I cook chicken curry with rice. It feels like giving myself a warm hug. It reminds me that simple things in life, like a homemade meal, can bring the greatest joy. This was the beginning of my love for my favorite dish. In the next episode, I will share with you the ingredients that make this dish so special, and how each one adds its own flavor to the magic. Episode 2: The ingredients that create magic. When we talk about food, we often forget how powerful and meaningful the ingredients are. Every dish starts with simple items: vegetables, spices, herbs, grains, or meat, but when they are combined in the right way, they create something unforgettable. My favorite dish, chicken curry with rice, is a perfect example of how simple ingredients can turn into a masterpiece of taste and comfort. The first and most important ingredient is chicken. It is the heart of the dish. The chicken pieces are usually cut into medium sizes, not too big and not too small, so that every bite feels tender and satisfying. Chicken has a natural flavor that absorbs the spices beautifully. When it is cooked slowly, the meat becomes soft, juicy, and delicious. The second set of ingredients are the onions, tomatoes, garlic, and ginger. These are the building blocks of the curry sauce. Onions, when fried until golden brown, create a sweet and rich base. Tomatoes add a slight tanginess and make the sauce thick and colorful. Garlic and ginger are like the secret heroes. They bring depth, warmth, and a little bit of sharpness to the dish. Without them, the curry would feel incomplete. And then comes the magical part, the spices. This is what transforms chicken curry from an ordinary meal into an extraordinary experience. The spices include turmeric, cumin, coriander, chili powder, and sometimes garam masala. Each spice has its own personality. Turmeric gives the curry its golden color and a subtle earthy taste. Cumin adds a smoky flavor. Coriander brings freshness. Chili powder adds heat and excitement, while garam masala ties everything together with a complex, warm aroma. When these spices blend, they create layers of flavor that make every bite a journey. But the dish would not be complete without rice. Rice is like the soft pillow on which the curry rests. It balances the strong, bold flavors of the curry by adding lightness and comfort. Plain steamed rice absorbs the sauce beautifully, making each spoonful rich and satisfying. Some people like to serve the curry with bread, but for me, rice is the perfect partner. Cooking this dish is like creating art. Each ingredient has a role, and together they form harmony. When I prepare the ingredients, I feel calm and focused. Cutting onions, peeling garlic, grating ginger, measuring spices, all these little actions make me appreciate the process of cooking. It is not just about eating, it is about creating something meaningful with my own hands. These ingredients are not just items from the market. To me, they are memories and emotions. I remember going with my mother to the local store, choosing fresh vegetables, smelling the spices, and listening to her explain how each one works in the dish. She would say, "Maya, the secret to good curry is patience. Don't rush, let the flavors grow together." And she was right. Every time I cook this dish now, I hear her voice in my mind, guiding me through the steps. So, when I see chicken, onions, tomatoes, garlic, ginger, and spices, I don't just see food. I see tradition, love, and care. These ingredients remind me of home, of family moments, and of how something simple can become extraordinary with the right touch. In the next episode, I will take you into the process of cooking the dish. Step by step, I will describe how these ingredients come together, how the smells fill the kitchen, and how the curry slowly transforms into my favorite dish. Episode 3: The Cooking Process Step by Step. Cooking my favorite dish, chicken curry with rice, is like telling a story. Every step has its own rhythm, its own feeling, and its own lesson. Let me take you through the process slowly, so you can imagine the smells, the sounds, and the excitement of preparing this meal. The first step is heating the oil in a pan. When the oil gets hot, I add chopped onions. The onions sizzle, and the sound makes me smile. I stir them gently until they turn golden brown. This part teaches me patience. I cannot rush it, because the flavor depends on time. Next, I add garlic and ginger. The smell is amazing, warm, sharp, and fresh. The kitchen fills with this rich aroma, and it feels like magic has started. I stir for a few seconds, then add chopped tomatoes. The tomatoes soften and melt into the mixture, creating a thick sauce. Now it's time for the spices. I sprinkle turmeric, cumin, coriander, and chili powder into the pan. The colors explode, yellow, red, and brown mixing together. The smell becomes even stronger, and I feel hungry already. Stirring the spices with onions and tomatoes creates the base of the curry. After that, I add the chicken pieces. The meat slowly changes color as it cooks. I stir carefully, making sure each piece is coated with the spicy sauce. This is when the dish starts to look alive. The chicken absorbs the flavors and begins to soften. Then comes the water. I pour just enough to cover the chicken, and I let it simmer. The word simmer means cooking slowly over low heat. This step is important because the flavors need time to mix and grow. The kitchen becomes warm, and the air is filled with the smell of curry. While the curry simmers, I prepare the rice. I wash it carefully until the water runs clear. Then I put it in a pot with water and a little salt. The rice cooks quietly while the curry bubbles gently on the other stove. Both are cooking together, like two friends walking side by side. After 20 minutes, the curry is ready. The sauce is thick, the chicken is tender, and the smell is wonderful. I taste a little with a spoon. It is spicy, rich, and full of flavor. At the same time, the rice is soft and fluffy. I know the dish is complete. Cooking teaches me many lessons. It teaches me patience, because I cannot rush the steps. It teaches me focus, because I must pay attention to details. And it teaches me confidence, because when I cook, I create something with my own hands. This process is not only about food. It is also about language. While cooking, I practice using simple phrases in English. Cut the onions. Stir the sauce. Add the spices. These small sentences are useful in daily life. Cooking becomes both a life skill and a language lesson. In the next episode, I will tell you about the first time I cooked this dish on my own. It was a challenge, but also a beautiful memory. Episode 4: My first time cooking the dish alone. The first time I cooked my favorite dish alone was a mix of excitement and nervousness. I still remember the moment clearly. I stood in the kitchen with all the ingredients ready: onions, garlic, tomatoes, spices, chicken, and rice. Everything was on the counter, waiting for me. My heart was beating fast because I wanted to do everything right. At the beginning, I checked my list. Organization is important when cooking. I told myself in English: Step 1, chop the onions. Step 2, prepare the garlic and ginger. Saying the steps out loud helped me stay focused and also practice my English. When I started chopping the onions, my eyes began to water. Tears rolled down my cheeks, but I laughed at myself. Cooking is not always easy. I reminded myself, don't give up. Keep going. I continued with garlic and ginger, and soon the kitchen started to smell fresh and sharp. Next, I heated oil in a pan. The oil was too hot, and when I dropped the onions in, they sizzled loudly and popped. I almost jumped back, but then I smiled. Mistakes are part of learning. I stirred carefully and waited until the onions turned golden brown. Then came the tomatoes. I added them slowly, but at first they stuck to the pan. I was worried they might burn. I added a little water and kept stirring. The sauce started to form, and I felt a wave of relief. Cooking is about solving small problems step by step. Adding the spices was the most exciting part. The bright yellow of turmeric, the deep red of chile, and the warm brown of cumin made the pan look like a painting. The smell filled the air, and I whispered, "Wow, this is real cooking." When I added the chicken, I felt confident. The pieces slowly turned white, then golden. I stirred gently, making sure every piece was coated with the sauce. I felt proud watching the dish take shape. For the first time, I was creating something on my own. Meanwhile, I started cooking the rice. I washed it 3 times, repeating the phrase in English: wash the rice until the water is clear. Saying it helped me remember the process. I put the rice on the stove, and soon the steam rose from the pot. The smell of fresh rice mixed with the smell of curry, and the whole kitchen felt alive. But then came a challenge. The curry was boiling too fast. I forgot to reduce the heat. The sauce was getting too thick, and I panicked for a moment. Then I reminded myself, stay calm. Cooking is learning. I lowered the heat, added a little water, and let it simmer. The problem was solved. After 30 minutes, everything was ready. I placed the rice on a plate, poured the curry on top, and looked at my creation. It was not perfect. The sauce was a little too thin, and the rice was slightly sticky, but it was mine. I took a bite, and the taste was wonderful. Spicy, warm, and full of effort. That day, I learned that cooking is not about perfection. It is about trying, practicing, and improving. It is about patience, focus, and creativity. And most of all, it is about enjoying the process. This experience gave me confidence not only in cooking but also in life. I realized that I can face challenges, make mistakes, and still succeed. Cooking my favorite dish alone was like a small adventure, full of lessons and pride. In the next episode, I will share how this dish became a way to connect with my family and friends. Food is not only for eating, it is for sharing love, joy, and stories. Episode 5: Sharing my favorite dish with family and friends. Cooking my favorite dish is special, but sharing it with others makes it even more meaningful. Food is not just about taste, it is about connection, love, and communication. The first time I cooked this dish for my family, I felt both nervous and excited. I wanted everything to be perfect, because I knew it was not only about the food, it was about the feelings behind it. I started in the kitchen early. My parents were in the living room, and I could hear them talking. My younger brother came in and asked, "What are you cooking?" I smiled and replied, "Wait and see." He laughed and left, but I could feel his curiosity. That moment made me realize how food can create anticipation and joy even before it is ready. As I cooked, the smell filled the house. Slowly, my family began to gather near the kitchen. My mother said, "It smells delicious." My father nodded with a smile. Those small comments gave me encouragement. I stirred the curry more carefully, tasting it again and again, making sure the flavors were balanced. When everything was ready, I set the table. I placed the rice in a big bowl, the curry in another, and added some fresh salad on the side. I wanted the meal to look beautiful, not just taste good. Presentation is also part of cooking. As my family sat down, I served each plate. My hands were shaking a little, but I kept smiling. My mother took the first bite, and her eyes widened. "Maya, this is wonderful," she said. My heart filled with happiness. My father agreed, saying the flavors were rich and balanced. Even my brother, who usually complains, said, "It's really good." At that moment, I understood that food has the power to bring people together. Around the table, we laughed, shared stories, and enjoyed the meal. The dish became more than food, it became a memory. I realized that when you cook for others, you give a piece of yourself, your time, your effort, and your love. Later, I also shared my favorite dish with friends. I invited them to my home for a small dinner. Some of them had never tasted this type of food before. When they tried it, they were surprised and excited. They asked me about the recipe, the spices, and how long it took to prepare. I felt proud explaining each step, and it made me more confident in both cooking and speaking English. One of my friends even said, "This dish reminds me of my grandmother's cooking." That sentence touched my heart. It showed me that food can connect people to their memories, cultures, and emotions. A simple meal can open doors to conversations and deeper understanding. Sharing my dish taught me patience and generosity. It showed me that when we create something with care, it has the power to spread happiness. Cooking became not only my hobby but also my way of expressing love and building relationships. I also learned new English phrases during these experiences. I practiced sentences like, "Would you like some more rice? How do you like the taste?" and "Please, enjoy the food." These expressions are useful in daily life, especially when sharing meals with others. The laughter, the compliments, the joy of eating together, all these moments stay in my memory. My favorite dish is now not only a part of my kitchen but also a part of my family and friends' hearts. In the next and final episode, I will reflect on everything this dish has taught me: patience, confidence, culture, and connection. I will also explain why this dish is not just food, but a symbol of who I am. Episode 6: Reflections on my favorite dish and life lessons. When I look back at my journey with my favorite dish, I realize it has taught me much more than just cooking. It has taught me about patience, discipline, and creativity. Every step in preparing the dish, from chopping onions to adding spices, became a small life lesson. Cooking is like life. It is full of challenges, surprises, and rewards. The first lesson I learned was patience. At the beginning, I was always in a hurry. I wanted the dish to be ready quickly. But food needs time. Onions must slowly turn golden, spices must release their fragrance, and rice must cook gently in boiling water. If I rushed, the taste would not be the same. Slowly, I learned that waiting with care brings the best results. This lesson also applies to life. Success, like good food, takes time. The second lesson was organization. Without preparation, cooking becomes stressful. Having all ingredients ready before starting made the process smoother. This taught me to plan, not only in the kitchen but also in my studies and daily life. Being prepared gives me confidence and peace of mind. Another lesson was creativity. Every time I cook the dish, I experiment. Sometimes I add more chili for a stronger taste, or a little lemon juice for freshness. These small changes make the dish unique each time. Creativity is important in cooking, and also in solving problems, studying, and expressing ideas. Confidence was also a big part of my journey. At first, I doubted myself. What if the food was bad? What if people did not like it? But each time I tried, I grew stronger. The smiles on my family's faces and the compliments from friends gave me courage. Cooking became a way to prove to myself that I can do difficult things. Most importantly, this dish became a bridge to culture and connection. Through it, I learned about tradition, family, and sharing. Cooking reminded me that food is part of identity. It tells a story where we come from, what we value, and how we share with others. When I cook this dish, I feel connected to my roots and proud of who I am. I also used the experience to practice English. Cooking gave me many useful expressions. Chop the onions, stir the sauce, taste the spices, serve the dish. Saying these steps in English improved my vocabulary and listening skills. Everyday actions can become powerful learning tools if we pay attention. Cooking this dish also showed me the value of mistakes. Sometimes the rice was too sticky, sometimes the curry too salty. But instead of giving up, I corrected the mistakes and tried again. Life, too, is full of mistakes. What matters is learning and improving, not being perfect. Finally, I realized that cooking is love. Every time I prepare the dish, I give a part of myself to the people around me. Food is more than taste, it is care, kindness, and connection. My favorite dish will always be special, not only because of its flavor but because of the memories and lessons it carries. Dear friends, our journey through my favorite dish has come to an end. We explored every stage, from describing the dish, gathering ingredients, cooking it alone for the first time, sharing it with family and friends, and finally reflecting on the lessons it taught me. Each episode was more than a story about food, it was about life, growth, and connection. Cooking teaches us patience, organization, creativity, and confidence. It reminds us that mistakes are part of learning and that small steps create big progress. Food also connects us with people, culture, and traditions. When we cook with love, we share happiness. I hope these episodes inspired you to think about your own favorite dish, your experiences, and the lessons they taught you. And remember, you can also use cooking as a fun way to practice English. Describe your steps, repeat useful phrases, and share your journey with others. Thank you for joining me, Maya, here on English Online. If you enjoyed this journey, don't forget to follow the channel, stay connected, and keep practicing your English every day. Together, we will grow, learn, and share many more stories. Stay positive, stay curious, and never stop learning. Until next time, my dear friends, keep smiling and keep growing with English.